Well, for those of you that are country fans, and you don't really even have to be a country fan, the great singer at the Riviera is Janie Fricke, along with Mickey Gilley. And I thought to myself, Janie, what a great duo, you and Mickey. It must be
It's
perfect.
very nice. I think it's a good combination. We've worked this whole past week, and now we've got another week to go. And it's, of course, this is the first time that I've had a chance to be an opening act in Vegas. And so it's been a new experience for my band and I, and we've just really been enjoying it.
Have you teamed with Mickey before, or is this the first time?
We've done concerts with Mickey Gilley before in the past, over the past couple of years, in concert halls or dance halls or whatever. But this is the first time for a major room in Vegas.
Wow. What does it feel like as opening act in Vegas?
It's very exciting, especially comparing it to my past years. Back when I was a backup singer and sang a lot of oohs and ahs in the background for other stars, I had a chance to come out here and work with Paul Anka at Caesar's Palace.
As a backup singer?
Yes. In fact, I did that 2 different times, so I spent about a total of 4 weeks in Vegas. That's been like 10 years ago. And so this is, coming back to Vegas and seeing my name on the marquee is quite a thrill, you can imagine.
I don't know if this girl was with Paul at the time. Do you know a girl named Karen Nelson?
Karen wasn't with Paul. The girl that sang Having My Baby with Paul Anka.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Odia Coates.
Odia Coates.
Odia was with him, and then I was in a vocal group called Rhodes, Chalmers, and Rhodes. They were the backup singers at the time for Paul Anka.
Was that many years, Janie, you worked the backup singer?
Yes, I did jingles and commercials and studio work and backup singing for many years before my solo career started. In fact, I didn't even think I would have a solo career. I was enjoying doing studio work and just doing sessions in Nashville, and then I worked in Memphis for a while.
That pays very well.
Oh yeah, and it's fun working with all the stars and just working in the studio. But then all this started, and it sort of changed my life around.
I would think so. Let's stop talking about it. That's the current #1 tune on the country charts by you right now.
Right, and we're doing it on our shows
That
every
is
night.
marvelous. It Ain't Easy Being Easy was #1.
Yes.
He's a Heartache, which is the tune we opened up the show with, was #1. Are there other #1 tunes or close to the...
My first #1 was Don't Worry About Me Baby, and that happened about 1.5 years ago. And since then I've had these other #1 records. We had a chance to name the album, the It Ain't Easy album, after the single. And on that same album is He's a Heartache. Now the brand new album is called Love Lies.
Now, is this album, was this your first one, Janie, or among...
No, in fact, I've had about 7 albums. This is probably number 6. The 7th album is the brand new one called Love Lies. And on that new one is Let's Stop Talking About It.
I'm curious where you recorded.
I record mainly in Franklin, Tennessee. It's just south of Nashville. But I did all my other albums in Nashville.
Franklin, Tennessee has
Franklin is sort of a suburb south of Nashville, and they've got a nice studio down there, and so we've done the last 2 albums there.
Is this one connected with any particular star, like some of the recording studios are, you know, a lot of...
No, but one of the producers that has produced many great acts in Nashville, this is his studio. His name's Norbert Putman, and he and my producer, Bob Montgomery, are recording a lot of things there, and it's becoming a real popular place.
Is that your home?
No, my home is now the state of Texas, but I'm an Indiana girl originally.
Isn't that what Willie Nelson did? He was from Nashville and a few other places and then went back to...
Yes, now he's probably originally a Texan. I'm originally a Hoosier from Indiana. But now home is Texas, and I'm proud of it. And every night I do a show at the Riviera, there's plenty of Texans out there.
But there are where in Texas?
Pardon?
What city?
Oh, a little town south of Dallas called Lancaster. And we have a farm down there, so I'm back to my original farm girl days, and I love it.
Well, Dallas, and I just heard that Houston is the fastest growing city in the country.
That's what I've heard too. And I've heard to avoid it because it's so busy, the freeways are so packed with cars.
Well, Dallas is pretty bad,
It really is a busy city.
As far as being busy?
There's a few sections of Dallas that can be pretty tragic when you're in rush hour, yes. But it's a nice city.
I'm curious about the business in general, Janie, for you being a very important star in country and also in pop. I'm sure you have it on the easy side. When you came to Las Vegas, you came right in the middle of our little strike, which we have going on.
Yes.
Did that affect you at all? Did you see anything in particular? I know the Riviera is not affected by it.
Really, we've had very good crowds. Every show has been real good. I think Mickey, Gilly, and I both would like to know what it would have been like if there wouldn't have been a strike and there would have been a lot of acts in town. I think we would have been curious to know, to see that side of it too. But this has been really pretty fortunate for us because we're one of the few acts that are in town, and so all of the tourists that are coming to Vegas, a lot of them get to come to our show, and so that's lucky for us.
That's a positive side.
That's right.
Of this. I never even thought about that. That's great. You did get to see the Lido show.
I did. I had a couple of nights off, and I did see the Lido, and I was very excited about that.
What does a country girl think about?
Yeah, what do you think, a country girl?
that French show,
Well,
big show. What does it seem like to you?
It was quite a sight to see. It was totally different from anything I've ever seen, and I think it's good to be able to go to a show like that when you're visiting in Vegas and to see the other side of life. You don't see that in your hometown back in Texas. But
Isn't it an extravaganza and
yes, it certainly
omnipotent
is.
And don't you get that feeling of the vastness?
I think of the producers and the directors of these shows, their creativity, their availability for costuming, the makeup, the feathers, the wild pieces that they use. That's always the part I think of. And I think of the choreography too. I can imagine how hard that was for the choreographer to place all of that within a 2-hour time segment or hour and a half or however long it lasted.
Yeah, it's
to
funny.
be able to choreograph that. I think of it from that side of it.
That's just what I was going to say. It's interesting.
I'm looking at all the little details and also I'm thinking of what do these people do in between shows now? They probably have a couple hours. Where do they go? How do they rest? Do they take all that makeup off and then put it all back on?
Yeah, they don't. They keep the
I
makeup
don't
on
either.
between the shows. They hang out in the coffee shop sometimes, or they go home, but that's generally the style of the procedure that follows between shows or whatever. Is this the first time you've played Vegas?
This is the first time to be an
as far as
opening act as a
opening
major act, right.
And what is happening from Vegas from here?
Well, let's see. We've got we were just offered a tour with Wayne Newton to go out on the road. He was going to go to several different cities in Arizona, and I'm waiting to hear whether that's gone through or not. We also worked with Merle Haggard in Lake Tahoe over New Year's Eve for 5 nights. And so now we've got a couple nights coming up with Merle Haggard in Los Angeles at the Universal Theater there.
You were co-starring with Merle Haggard at
Right. I was the
Lake
opening
Tahoe.
act at the High Sierra, it's now called, at Lake Tahoe. So we've got that coming up in May. We've got some award shows, the Academy of Country Music Awards show in Los Angeles. I'm a nominee, so I will go to that and see what comes of that. But
What were your impressions of Lake Tahoe?
oh, beautiful. It was great, but there was a snowstorm, so going over that mountain to get into town was a little treacherous. And my band had problems getting out of Tennessee because of a snowstorm, so it was a little shaky the first night. I didn't know if my band was going to make it. They did make it. We opened fine, and we enjoyed all 5 nights there with Merle.
He's been in
great.
Vegas 2 or 3 times. He had a concert, an outdoor concert that they did last year, a special concert at Caesars, or was it the Dunes? Anyway, one or the other, because they both were doing it. And I went to his concert. It's a one-night-only thing, you know. Kenny Rogers had one. There was a whole list of stars. Caesars had something about Under the Stars, because it was at night and all this stuff. But he is so popular. This guy is so strong.
Well, he's so talented in such a simple way. You know, very similar. You can't compare him to Willie Nelson, but all they have to do is stand there with that guitar and sing and pick, and that's it, you know. And I just love that style. I really like both Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson a lot because I think they're truly talented people. They're great writers. They're very good singers and musicians. Just to sit and listen to him pick a guitar in the dressing room, you could sit there forever and listen to it. And that's exactly what we did backstage, was sit around and pick and sing.
Really?
Yeah, and fortunately I've had a chance to be in the studio with Merle, and we recorded 2 duets back in November. It was funny, I saw him in the parking lot in Nashville at a hotel, and he said, he was on his big tour bus and he was playing his tapes. He said, called me over to the bus, he said, hey, listen to these 2 songs. So I listened to him. He said, would you like to put a little harmony on these songs? And I said, let's go. So then we went over to the studio and did the harmony. And then I sang the songs on stage with him every night at Lake Tahoe.
Wow.
And it was really fun. And so I think that's going to be on his up-and-coming album. The 2 songs will be.
I just can't help but but it's mind-boggling the impact country singers, stars, have had. They've always, of course, been popular, but it just seems like it's become unbelievable, because we've had many of the big stars here in country, other forms of entertainment too, but from your side, now that you're up there in that #1 spot, don't you feel it and see it?
I sure do. I notice the difference in the audiences, the people who are coming to the concerts, the people who are buying the records. It's reaching a vast audience, and all kinds of people enjoy country music today. And of course, that's great. That's what we want.
Yeah.
The more stations that can play our country records, the better off we all are. And why not have everybody enjoy country music? You know?
I had asked you earlier about it, if you had a music video, because I've had so many of them, especially in country, which is my big favorite, and I lean towards the country more than anything. And you said that you did not have one yet.
No. I think we're going to be able to choose a video, do a video from this new album that I'm working on right now in the studio. I hope.
It's very
a big
difficult.
step, making a video.
I know it. It's very difficult. Most of the countries are not as produced as extensively as the new wave. The new wave gets involved in some huge production, and I mean, Olivia Newton-John, I've played hers before, and it's like unbelievable. I mean, it's like a mini movie.
Sure.
With what's gone into it.
The production is very costly.
Well, and then one with Thriller, of course, with Jackson, that's $1 million, which was easy to understand on his. But, I mean, I don't think you have to get into all of that. People just like to see the performers, such as yourself, actually doing the tune. But doesn't it seem kind of interesting for you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to try it. Now, I think that videos are a way for the singer to do a little bit of acting and to get that self-esteem from watching themselves do a little bit of acting. It's a different concept for them to see themselves rather than just going out and doing concerts and singing a whole show. They can actually do a little acting in that video. And it's sort of a self-ego trip to be able to do a video, because then you can sit back and say, that's me, they're acting on that. And I'll tell you one thing, I don't know if a video actually helps a record become a #1 record or not. I really question that, because I think that there's a lot of songs that have not become #1 records, even though they've had a video out.
I know.
So it's not that that video is going to help that song become a smash #1 hit. It's just simply to show, you know, the country, or show everybody what that person can do in a different light other than just do a concert.
Well, I just think they're fabulous. We have 2 brand new video shows here on Channel 5. One is now airing every day at 4 o'clock, which is, I think, top 40 videos.
Oh, good.
And then we're running one out of New York sometime on the weekends. And we've been running Solid Gold here on Channel 5 for I don't know how long. That in itself is sort of a series of videos, you know, when you look at it in that respect. But the impact the videos have had, I just think, have been absolutely incredible. I've had great success with them here on Page 5 when we get to play them. I wanted to play yours, and I said, Janie,
Not yet.
I need your video.
Maybe next time.
Janie, I've only got about a couple, 3 minutes. I keep hearing about Nashville, and this is the country mecca, like we're supposed to be the world capital, sports capital, Vegas, gambling capital. Is it really true about Nashville? Because I know Texas is very strong. Is it true? You're recording there, so...
I would say Nashville would be the top recording place. I've lived in Memphis, I've lived in Dallas, Los Angeles, and then went back to Memphis. This was all during my studio years, searching the best place to be a studio singer. I've recorded in studios in Chicago and New York, so I guess, and Muscle Shoals, Alabama. So I've been in all of the major recording cities, and Nashville has to be the top place because of all the producers, all of the record companies are there, the whole business is there. You know, and it's, you just can't beat it, can't replace it. I know a lot of people have tried to say that maybe Austin, Texas could have been a huge recording capital. Now they're saying maybe Dallas can improve and become, but I've seen the studios in Dallas, and I've worked them and done lots of commercials there. I think a lot of these cities are real good for commercials, but not for records.
Nashville's
not
place.
Like Nashville.
So it is true.
It's tops.
They're still doing hee-haw. Is hee-haw out of Nashville?
It sure is.
Yeah.
And it used to be at one, they used to do it out of one studio, now they've changed it. It's all out at Opryland Productions. It's the big Opryland, which is a beautiful complex. And
is it really?
Yes. There's so much to do in Nashville. the fanfare that goes on during June, during the summer, where the fans come from all over the world to see all of the artists. Almost all the stars are there during fanfare. That's a great time to come. In October, when all of the disc jockeys, the big CMA Awards, Country Music Association Awards, that's a great time to come to Nashville, because all the stars are there that week, too, for the awards show.
Well, Janie, I hope
That's
you have
exciting.
well, I hear you. Maybe one day we'll make a Nashville. I hope you have a
Yeah.
great stay here in Las Vegas and at the
Thank
Riviera. I know your show is packing them in, and I think it would anyway, if not more so, strike or no strike. But I hope even under the circumstances with the strike, you have a good time in Vegas.
Thank you.
And we will be seeing you again.
And I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Thank you, Janie.
Dennis.
Thank you. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this word.